Students, in this video will understand about the security at the transport layer. So this particular chapter comes in the third module. Okay, so this is nothing but here we'll learn about the protocol secure secure socket layer, SSL. We'll learn about the SSL. Okay, so this SSL, basically here this protocol has two sub protocols, that is nothing but handshake and the record protocol. We'll learn about that both here in this thing. So we can see here, students, between the application and the TCP we have two layers. So what are the work of these two layers and how basically it works and what is its main work? Okay, so that is what we'll learn here. Okay, so before that, okay, yes, let us just before understanding those two protocols, we'll understand what is secure socket layer. Okay, so the secure socket layer is nothing but it's a sandwich. Okay, this SSL, this secure socket layer, sandwiched between TCP and an application layer, so that we have already seen in this diagram. And this protocol is basically application independent, and various protocols like HTTP, FTP, SMTP, IMAP and POP, all these can be run over SSL. And if the protocol is secured with the layer, this one, that is secure socket layer, then it will have an suffix S. We have already seen it. Okay, so these examples simply just tells about your port. Okay, this is the main diagram. Okay, so once this is about the secure socket layer, so here we'll understand about the handshake protocol and the record layer protocol. So what do we do in the handshake protocol? So in the handshake protocol we perform the server authentication. Okay, we perform the server authentication. This is main. Okay, all along with that it also has the work of deriving the keys for encryption and MAC computation. These are the work. And what are the jobs of the next one? That is your record layer protocol. The record layer protocol performs the message authentication plus integrity checking and encryption. Okay, along with that it will also do the replaying, reordered and duplicate packets, and it will detect the replayed, reordered and duplicate packets. Okay, so this is it about the record handshake, the record layer protocol. So first let us come to the SSL handshake protocol. Okay, so in handshake protocol, what are the main steps? Okay, the main steps. So it basically this handshake protocol is used to start a new session, or to resume an existing session, or to establish a new connection with an existing session. So the main four steps are there. First one is nothing but agreeing on a common cipher suit. Okay, why this we need to agree on a common cipher suit? Because we need to use this common cipher suit in the session. Next one is nothing but receiving and validating the server certificate by the client. Okay, so who will validate the server certificate? Client will validate the server certification. Once that is done, you are nothing but you are computing the pre-master certificate pre-master secret. Okay, and along with that you will also compute the derived secret. Once that is over, you will do the integrity verification of handshake messages and server authentication. Okay, so these four steps let us understand in a diagram actually. So you can see here the first two steps, the client hello and server hello, and what are the things happening between these, basically our understanding in the step 1. And the step 2, see, you can see here it speaks about the certificate, the server sending the certificate to the client, so obviously client has to verify the certificate, so that is a second step. The third step is nothing but the client key exchange and the change cipher spec. Okay, so this particular two steps along with the finished message, it will be done in the third step. Obviously here you are computing, okay, or the master secret, that's all. And this is the final step. Okay, so between the server and client. So once these four steps are successful, the handshake is successful, that's all. So let us understand little more in detail about these steps. In the first step, what you are doing is nothing but two messages are communicated, client hello and server hello. We have already discussed that. Okay, so here what you are doing? Okay, first of all, here whether we need to start a new session or we need to reuse a new session, that is decided. Okay, if we are starting a new session, then the client hello message, that is the session ID of a client hello message, will be 0. Otherwise you need to use the session ID of the previous one, or whichever you are reusing. Okay, that session's ID you need to use. Okay, so that much you need to know. The algorithm basically which is used in the computation of a MAC here include MD5 and SHA1. Okay, SHA1 we'll study in another video. Mainly the key exchange method which is used for communication is nothing but the pre-master secret. Okay, so in addition to agreeing on a cipher suit, both sides choose and exchange 232-byte nonces RA and RB. So this much steps happens in this first step. So these are the things which happens. So you need to know this much. Second one is nothing but it's simply the authentication of the certificate which is sent by the server to the client. So here what the client will authenticate, he will authenticate simply the CA on the certificate. Okay, so this authentication step happens here, but basically it completes in the step 4. That authentication happens at the end of the step 4. The third one is nothing but the third thing, you are choosing a pre-master secret. You are choosing a pre-master secret which is a 48-byte random number. So once you get that, you are basically encrypting it using the server's public key, and you are sending to the server in the client key exchange message. So you can see this client key exchange message in the diagram. Okay, once that is done, both the client and the server, they compute the master secret. Okay, so what is this master secret? This is a basically function of the pre-master secret, okay, which is decided by the client. Along with that, 2 nonces and the constant. Okay, along with these 6 more things are done. Okay, yeah, once you get the master secret, everything is not over. You have to again find the derived secret. So derived secret you find using the function of the master secret, again the constant and the 2 nonces RA and RB. Once this is over, you get the derived secret. So what is this 6 derived secrets, and what do you get in the 6 derived secrets? In the 6 derived secrets, you will get the initialization vector for encrypting messages from the client to server and vice versa. Even you will also get the secret key for encrypting messages from client to server and again vice versa. Okay, then finally you will also get the secret for computing keyed hash on the messages from client to server, okay, and server to client. These are the 3 steps. Once this happens, this final step is nothing but it involves the exchange of 2 messages in each direction. The first of these messages is nothing but the change cipher spec. So you can see this change cipher spec in the diagram. Okay, so what exactly happens here? Let us check out. So first one is nothing but the party that sends this message signals that from now on the cipher suit and the keys computed will be used. Okay, so the usage of the cipher suit and the keys which is computed they will start using. Okay, then once the second message is nothing but the finished message. Okay, so what does this message include? So it basically includes the concatenation of all the handshake messages whichever is sent in the previous steps along with the predefined constant. Okay, so what basically is there in the keyed hash? So basically in the keyed hash, it is nothing but it serves as an integrity check on the previous handshake messages. The integrity check is also required. Okay, so that this key hash serves that thing. After the server receives the changes cipher spec and finished messages from the client, it verifies the computation of the keyed hash. Okay, once it verifies, then what it does? It does that server, it computes its own key hash that covers the previous handshake messages plus predefined constant, which is distinct, which is different from the one used by the client. So the keyed hash which is computed from the server is a different one, which is a different one. Okay, the client's one is different, the server's one is different. So a client obviously has to verify it. Okay, so once it verifies and everything is proper, the things are basically authenticated. So this is what happens in SSL handshake. Okay, so once this much is over, we need to understand the next protocol, which is nothing but SSL record layer protocol. This record layer protocol, SSL record layer protocol, is used to securely transmit data. Okay, it is also used to securely transmit data using the negotiated cipher suit and the keys. So this negotiated cipher suit and the keys we get during the SSL handshake. Okay, so what are the main tasks here? The main tasks are computation of a per message MAC and encryption. So how does it do? Yeah, so basically you can see this diagram and you can basically understand. So basically the data will be there. Yeah, if the data is very big, it will be fragmented. You can see the fragment here. Once it is fragmented, we what we do is we append the MAC so to the fragment and we encrypt it. Okay, so we can see in the third step, once it is encrypted, we prepend the header. Okay, that is SS record layer header, and we send it to the to the TCP layer for the further processing. This is all happens in the SSL record layer protocol. Okay, so let us little bit more understand about the server authentication process also. Okay, so the students, this is just like an additional information for you. Main things are over. We already understood the record and two protocols here, record layer protocol and handshake protocol. These are like the additional things. So let us discuss about the server authentication. Okay, so the MAC computed by both parties and sent in the step 4. This is the step 4. Basically it is the they are speaking about step 4 of the handshake, which is used as an integrity check on the previous handshake messages. Okay, all the handshake messages are sent in clear, so it should be very much clear. It is also possible for an attacker to alter one or more of the handshake messages. Okay, so example, what alteration he can do. So he may replace 128-bit DES by a 56-bit DES. Okay, so he's changing the information there. Okay, so this may also include both parties to use a weaker cipher. Okay, so using the weaker cipher means basically it is a compromise made by the attacker. Okay, and the MAC, it also detects any modification in the handshake messages. The hash computed by the server and the verified by the client uses the server MAC secret. Okay, which is a function of the master secret, which in turn is a function of the pre-master secret. Okay, recall that the pre-master secret is chosen by the client and encrypted with the server's public key, so that the server alone can read it. So nobody but the server and the client should compute the 6 secrets. So these are the simply the steps, students. Once again they are repeating the steps whichever has happened in the handshake protocol. Okay, they are telling it in little more detail, that's all. Only after the client receives and verifies the keyed hash from the server, it is convinced that it is talking to the authentic server. Okay, let us little bit understand about the design ideas. Okay, the key exchange method. So the once again coming back to the our this time handshake protocol in step 2, basically the server dispatches its certificate, okay, to the, so the client can use the public key contained in the certificate to encrypt the pre-master secret. So they are simply telling you the step 2, they are expanding it so that you can understand it better. Okay, so this means that the public key in the certificate and the corresponding private key may only be used exclusively for signature generation or verification, not for encryption. Okay, next in that case SSL permits the server to create a temporary public key or private key pair. Okay, the public key including modulus are signed by the server using the private key corresponding to public key in the signature only certificate. Okay, they're just expanding the things, students, in the step 2. Main thing is whatever we have discussed that time. The signed public key and the certificate are communicated by the server to the client. The client verifies the signature on the public key and then uses it to encrypt the pre-master secret. Okay, even the SSL also offers a rich set of options for key exchange, such as RSA based exchange or Diffie-Hellman key exchange. So these are we have already discussed before. Okay, so this is about the key exchange ideas. So finally let us go to the OpenSSL. This is not PenSSL, it is OpenSSL. So let us simply understand what is OpenSSL. OpenSSL is an open source software that implements the SSL TLS protocol. So what it is comprises? It comprises of a number of libraries which implement various cryptographic algorithms. What is the use of this OpenSSL? It provides extensive support for communication and validating digital certificate. Okay, it also enhances the productivity of the application developers. So how does it enhances the productivity of application developer? Because it does by providing a rich set of APIs, okay, which can handle diverse aspects of SSL enabled communication, from connection setup to tear down to certificate storage, management and verification. So all the areas. Okay, so this is about the OpenSSL. Okay, so the developers, they rely on this OpenSSL APIs to implement the required security. So this is all we have, students, in our fifth chapter of the third module. Okay, thank you, students.